Command phase. The first thing you do in the command phase is both players each give themselves one command point. That is the very first thing you do. Do not forget to do that. That is important. Then any effects that you may have on your sheets or on your data cards or your army that take place in the command phase, this is now the time to do it. You do it during this phase, right after you get your command point. And you do it right before you get to the battle shock phase. So once all the command things are done that can be done during the player's turn that it is command phase, then we go into the battle shock phase. The battle shock phase only happens for the person whose turn it is. So if it is your turn, look across your army, and any units that have lost troops may have to take a battle shock test. The deciding factor is whether or not the unit is below half strength. So if we look at this Death Company Intercessors with Chaplain, it is a 10-man squad, but with the Chaplain, that makes it an 11 model unit. So below half strength on an 11 model unit is 5. So as soon as this gets to 5, it will be below half strength. So as we see here, this turn, last turn, the Gene Stealers tore into them, killed 6 of them. Now they are below half strength. They must make a battle shock test. You only make a battle shock test if your unit is below half strength. If it is a single model, it makes a battle shock if it is below half wounds. Okay, that's what a single model does when it reaches below half strength. You've killed half or more of its wounds. Now it has to make a battle shock test. So, Death Company is going to make a battle shock test. How do you do that? It is very simple. You take 2 dice and you look at the leadership in the unit. Death Company Intercessors have a leadership of 6 plus. The Chaplain, however, has a leadership of 5 plus. You take the highest leadership in the unit and then you roll these 2 dice. That is it. If it is the same as that number or higher, you have passed the battle shock test. If it is below that number, you have failed the battle shock test. Here we go. 6. Their leadership is 5. It exceeds 5. It is 5 or more. So Death Company here has passed their battle shock test. It is that simple. You don't add in the number of guys that died or anything. It's just that, hey, this unit is below half strength. It must take a battle shock test. And you only take battle shocks in your own turn for the battle shock phase. Now, if we come over here and we look at these intercessors, well, 2 of them died, and they're a 5-man unit, and that means they are not below half strength, even though dudes died. Now, it does not have to take a battle shock test. Say a round goes by, and all of a sudden they lose another guy. Well, 3 out, 3 in, they are still not below half strength. They are at half strength. They got to be below. Lose 1 more guy, now they have to take a battle shock test. And it's the same thing. You pick the highest leadership in the unit, which in this unit, they both are 6, even though there's an ancient, he's only 6. And you roll and get that number or higher, and they pass their battle shock test. Now, what happens if a unit fails its battle shock test? Well, if it fails its battle shock test, then it can no longer, its objective control number goes down to 0. It can no longer contend objectives. You cannot score points with them, or hold objectives, or destroy objectives, or any of that stuff. And then if your unit has to fall back and it is battle shocked, it has to make a desperate escape. We will show you what desperate escape is in the fallback portion of movement. But they will have to make a desperate escape in order to do that if they are battle shocked. Another thing that happens is when you are battle shocked, you cannot use stratagems on that unit. No command reroll, no nothing. You can't use any of your stratagems on a unit that is battle shocked. So the Death Company are really happy that they passed their battle shock because now they can use, their cool stratagems that help them get lance and lethal hits. So that is the command phase. That's pretty much all that happens at the command phase. Once all battle shock tests have been taken for the players whose turn it is, then you move on to the next phase.